Okay, okie dokie. Good morning, everyone. It's day 38 of the Handmade Game, not affiliated. And if you'd like to join me this morning as we jump right back into it, all you need for that is your drink of choice. Today is some nice, beautiful matcha. And we will all have a little sip of that just to start the day off. It's more of like a slurp than a sip, I have to say. If you're just sipping the matcha, you're not doing it right. If you're slurping, if you're taking the whole thing at once, that is how you know what is up. So we'll continue on that. Okie dokie. So we are still stuck, unfortunately, once again at the most critical of junctures here, choosing whether to spend a lot more time to continue working through this game. And I think we've hit kind of the wall again here, where to move any further and to have this kind of turn out the way I really would like, it's going to take a fundamental rebuilding of the physics system to really clean it up, make it more performant, and work at higher and higher amounts of simulated entities at the same time. And that's a significant amount of work. It's work that I think must be done in order to continue forward with the game here. But there's a number of other things we can also be doing here too. In the meanwhile, because I think basically what I've been doing over the last few is I'll boot up Steam here and then tell you. It is mostly it's been kind of like crazy stuff going on at work. But mostly I have been just hanging out, recharging my batteries, and playing. Oh, shit. Ooh. One moment here. I'm playing a bunch of indie games, trying to get some inspiration, try to go see a bunch of things. So I tried a number. I downloaded obviously too many games, but tried a number of ones that I hadn't played or hadn't touched in a while. And there was some cool stuff. There were some cool ones that I just want to give like a little shout out to, I suppose. Um, let's see if we can find it here, but yeah. Let's see. Tiny Rogues actually played like 45 minutes of this. I went through like a whole run, and it was pretty good. It was interesting. In like what like how much you can do with, and really have like so much of the things like stripped back and pared down. And it was actually kind of cute. All of the little like video game nerd references like kind of crammed in there. The presentation actually was quite good. Like there's a lot of polish on like the balance of these things, all this stuff. But obviously the graphical fidelity is meant to kind of evoke Rogue here. I did find, hey, there were a couple of spots that I wasn't as big a fan of. Like I think the dodging around was kind of challenging because it's hard to tell in this game like which particles are yours versus the enemies. Unfortunately, I think that kind of suffered. But I thought actually pretty cool, especially for quote unquote early access. Now I don't know. I have no idea like what's going on. If I guess the game is still going on. Oh Jesus, Jesus Christ. Yes, I hope that guy's doing. Hopefully that guy's doing good. But definitely was a cool one that I actually had fun enough like playing through like a whole round of that. Thronefall, I played 10 minutes of. I thought it was kind of interesting, kind of cool. The tutorial, a bit slow, but it did seem like pretty. I was interested actually in what was going on. Into the Breach 2 thought was kind of cool. Had I'm a big tactical SRPG type guy. I've played a lot of Fire Emblems in my day. So I thought what was going on in Into the Breach was pretty interesting. I got like wrecked the very first time I played because of the airstrike system. Just like really decimated my own guys, which sucked. Um, and I didn't love the controls on keyboard actually. I thought that was like a little weird, but definitely worth playing again. I also played Animal Well for a little bit, and it was pretty cool. I did like the look of that game. I liked it's actually super impressive what Billy was able to do with all of this, and like it just looks beautiful, right? And it's creepy and interesting. But I think this is one where you like really gotta sink your teeth into it and explore around. And I just didn't have the time the other day. Try and do like a big sampling here of stuff. Yeah, and so played a number of games. Played a number of games the other day too. Some like puzzle games and crap. And that's kind of like the name of the game here is, you know, I'm kind of in a spot where still not quite sure what to do. Um, because I think just technically this game is going to be pretty hard to finish, and not even just finish, but to like to keep going on, to get to that step where I actually want to. If I the step where I actually feel comfortable enough, like designing a whole bunch of content and trying to prove out, make some sort of like itch.io releasable version of the game that we can go, put out there and see if it's working. Put enough work into it to make sure it's good. I think it's like a ton. I think it's a big project. I think it is a big project that, to be honest, like I don't know if I am equipped for. And the fact that I keep hitting this point makes me think that it is not just sort of like it's not just like a mental block here, but it is like a real, hey, there's kind of a real problem going on of like some of these things, like I think fixing boost, of spending a bunch of time to do that actually is probably would be the right thing to continue on doing, of like really nail down that mechanic and make it work super nice, because that's kind of like determines how the entire movement system feels. um but everything else, like there's just so much I can technically rat hole into the physics uh in order to do something, and I think it's a kind of a big mistake, uh because this is like not as nearly as transferable, uh unless I do another very heavy physics based game. um and I don't know if that's what I want to do. I don't really have a fantastic idea for that at the moment, or one that, if we go do it, like what makes it not actually solve some of the problems and like get us away from the hurdles that we're seeing here. And I don't see that yet. So I think it's like time. I think it's really time to rescope, and it's a real shame because this is again not the first time I've had to rescope or walk away from this specific game, but made it a lot further. I feel in terms of like technical understanding of what to do, and like I think technically, I now can probably build up the version of this game that is the good prototype version of this game. I think it will just take a significant amount of time to do, and without the necessary experience design wise, I don't think that it is going to be the cleanest path, to success here. So I think my inclination is, okay, we have to do something where go through a project that is going to be a lot more about design than technical implementation. Something that is going to be solvable a lot more quickly from a tech standpoint, so that we can just like get as much time spent like working on design problems as possible, and hopefully actually create something releasable, so we get that full end-to-end picture of how like creating the thing works, which is I think going to be absolutely critical knowledge of what to do, and then we come back and try to get go back in here. So unfortunate, another stream of Alex yapping and not doing much work. But like this is kind of really the point where there's a problem, and I think that if I continue down the road that we're currently going down, I think that I will be just locked into that for a very long time, for a couple of years, and I don't have the confidence or experience yet to say if that's the right thing to do. And without that, I think that I must pick a less risky option, which is to try to come up with something a bit more manageable. And that doesn't mean that whatever we do instead isn't going to be like a tough thing to actually go through and like actually release and do all this stuff. But it's like the type of work that I think I must be doing next has to be most valuable to my learning here, which is going to be something less technically focused, so that we can actually go solve some of those problems. So I guess like what do we do instead here? Let me check. I have like a list of like notes somewhere. I have like a bunch of game ideas that I've like come up with over the years. This is kind of like a stale list, unfortunately. But I think the ones that were felt the most interesting were, I had like a sort of pseudo stealth game that I had been rolling around in my head for quite a while, that I thought was kind of interesting. There is the sort of like infinite active time battle-esque game that I've kind of spoken about on some of like the live or the pre-recorded car videos in the past, that I think is actually pretty cool. And then there is I have this idea of going through and doing some sort of like roguelike SRBG type game, and trying to work that through, because I think that is I do really like that genre of game. It would kind of just be like remaking a game, but I think like that, those are the types of things that would be very useful to do, to try to like essentially remake a game here. and remake someone else's game, but then like get experience like with tweaking the design and playing around with things and making it as fun, interesting as possible. I think there's like that's where there is probably some cool stuff going on. And all of these ideas, I think you know they are quite a bit more derivative. Uh, but again, like that's how we get something where it becomes a lot closer to something that I can kind of like take to the end zone here, and really see it through. Um, yeah. So I guess the question really is like, most of those sound pretty rogue lighty. We're kind of going away from more puzzly type stuff, and I think if anything is turn based or sort of like not fully real time action too. That definitely I would hope that makes it easier design wise because you have all these discrete states of things and all this stuff. At least for the prototyping. Um, so we really are just back into like playing. And that's why I'm at this point here where I was just playing a bunch of games and trying to see what would really stuck with me, or like what I thought was like interesting enough to try to do an own version of. Because I also think that like if I pick like something, if I don't have the passion for this project right now, um, then we're gonna be back here in another couple of months, like really having given up again, and at that point it won't be a hey, like we won't have nearly as good a reason to have done so. Um, so yeah, that's it's kind of like it's kind of unfortunate. Um, but I guess we spend like the next little bit here. um, yeah, I think like maybe it's worth to just like coming up with like the common list here of like what are things that we actually want to try doing. Um, so so I think it's like it has to be based off existing design, not technically demanding for physics, for physics, or rendering, which means we are going to constrain ourselves with like the for a while with like what we see possible on screen. Shouldn't be anything like so super crazy. Um, um, it has to be an idea. Fall in love with. Yes, there has to be some passion there in order to like to do this. Um, and I think that there are some of these other ideas I can get pretty passionate about. It's just a matter of like I'm currently still like not in the mindset of being locked into any of them because we've been kind of focused on this other game for a while now. and so it's a little bit of mental inertia to switch. I just haven't been thinking about these things. Um, what else? What else do we want to do here? Um, I would so love to not have to figure out controller yet to be primarily keyboard. .2D. We're sticking it with 2D. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think we're really narrowing down shit here. Because these are all the common elements between these two things. You know, I suppose, like, what we could do, too, is, like, if I have 3 ideas, we could try implementing all, like, the 3 ideas and time box those. Again, this is kind of like the path that or the development cycle that I was on the last time, or in 2024 when I had picked up like doing game dev for the first time. Was we were kind of just going through prototype, like, and not even really prototyping games. Like, we were just doing, hey, I can like get something on screen that kind of looks vaguely like the thing I'm talking about. But I guess that's like that is an option too. Is if I can't pick, then I could just like do all of them. I could just do all of them, and then we will see, right? You know, we'll see like which of these has like a real payoff here, or which of these did like felt the most interesting to work on, to do. That might be the solution, right? Because it's just not something I've thought about enough. So, you know, instead of just, you know, if I don't have a decision right now, then the best thing we can do is to just is to be doing something, right? Is to be doing something that we can, that gets us closer to what we want, but we can kind of bail on if we need to, if we come up with something more interesting. So that's an option too, right? So then what would it be? So we have like the ideas. So we have like the 2D stealth sandbox game. We have the ATB roguelite. We have like SRPG roguelite. So if I were to think like what would be the challenges to get a version of these ideas, like a proto, like a, and not just like, so, and I think the prototypes that we have to be pushing toward have to be a bit more ambitious than what we've been doing before, where it's kind of just like a one screen proof of concept. Like, I think the goal should be actually to make a game version of these. So if we were to do that, then I would, for this one, the things we would have to do would be I have to actually go implement like mouse input correctly. We would have to create you know, we have collisions, so that should be all good. We'd have to create like a basic AI system, not Gen AI, but you know, like computer enemy AI behavior and vision system. and not like a and not like an open CV vision system. Like a site cone thing. Um, we'd have to like design a level, at least one level. Design some powers slash tools. We'd have to design some NPC behaviors. Yep. Because I think to create the one level version of this game, and I'm gonna be a little cagey here about these things because I kind of don't want to. I don't want to get like sucked down like a big rant of talking about these when they're just like really unpolished ideas. But I think that would be like all the stuff we would do. I don't know. Maybe there's like a scoring system or something. Because like there with like a stealthy type game, you do get like if you're like basically it would be very. The thing I have in my head for this one is very similar to Party Hard, which is kind of like a Hitman if it was a little like pared down 2D pixel art game. It's not working. Wow, that's not really useful part of the trailer here, but it's kind of like you walk around one of like these little sandbox levels. You try to like do all the things, do all the stuff, but it's there's like a little bit different of a flavor to it. I would suppose, and I have like one kind of more interesting mechanic I think than to add on to this. But yeah, I'm kind of I don't know like there's parts of this one where I haven't like really figured out like what is like the super interesting part of it for me. But I think there would be a significant amount of the stuff we're looking for of like a lot of like fun design stuff to actually go do to create like something kind of cool. There's not that much hard technical work to do because I think this would be the bulk of it, and it doesn't really have to be that advanced here. But I think that's that one. For this one, what we'd have to do, I'd actually have to go re-implement. I have a lot of this code lying around. Sort of like JRPG battle system and design AI behaviors, which actually can be pretty stupid in this one. I think that it's like because it's basically just like rolling on a random table and then picking an action. Design a bunch of actions to do. There's like implement. There's design a regression system for the level. Yeah, so like I think technically that one is pretty easy. Maybe some animation, probably not, because this one would be the idea of this thing would be to go through and create some kind of like it would be like Super Nintendo Final Fantasy like reimplementation of the of like what is going on in like a battle, but then kind of like wrap it in this in a more wrap it in like a roguelike progression, where you're kind of just the entire thing is taking place in like the battle screen. So get rid of everything else. Try to make that as interesting as possible. And I think that's a pretty solvable one too. And then it just like comes down to more of can I create as much content for that as possible that's actually interesting, and like can you actually make the JRPG battle system as interesting as possible, or actually super interesting, like taking away all of the trappings of it, all of the like all the story and like your characterization, all this crap, to and like we could add some stuff later back to it, but does it kind of like stand on its own game mechanic wise? That would be the test there. But I think like that one actually is pretty simple to do. I have some of the code lying around for this. It's just going to be like some work to get there. And then like to go like do an SRPG roguelite, that would be you have to go implement a like tile like a tile level system, which is not that hard. It's just gonna be some work. Implement tile and round based movement. Also, probably not that hard to get some crappy version of that up and running. And then it would be, like go design levels, design AI behavior, design some player characters, design some progression, and yeah, blah blah blah. Like, I think, so I think it's like these two ideas of like we could go create some game. I think they're like kind of similar. In I don't think it takes terribly long time. I would hope to get that crappy prototype version of it up and running. And they are more like known things. It's just I think the problem I'm having mentally is just is thinking of like committing to that level of will I continue finding that interesting enough to last me through like a at least a few months worth of time to like really get something kind of up and working. Because I don't think they're like too terribly interesting. They're also like also all of these ideas too are not really that small of games, because they are, especially these ones have like this idea of being roguelite in some way, which means they're the like if we were to go actually try to finish them, the name of the game would be stack a bunch of content on top of that, which is also maybe not the smartest thing to do. Because if we're thinking of like what is a game that is achievable in a couple of months, to release end to end, like go get more experience doing that. It's also it might have to be smaller, It might have to be smaller and smaller. That's the thing. Um, yeah, yeah. Unfortunate. I think we're just kind of like not in a great spot here. Because I'm a little wishy-washy right now, and I think it's a good. I have a good reason to be wishy-washy. It's because like this got to happen. But you could always just do the thing where we do all three of these, to some degree, to some degree, and then try to see what to do from there. Yeah, yep. Because even like if I were to pick like a fast follow game that is like really just one-to-one clone of some other thing. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, that sucks. Abandoned on PC. I remember this one actually was kind of not so bad. I thought like it was did do like a kind of good job of vampire survivors, but more active uh like combat mechanic to be try to be a little bit more interesting. Um, oh well. Yeah. All right, I think I'm gonna turn off the stream here and spend some more time thinking through this one because right now clearly just going around in circles. Thank you very much for watching, listening. Sorry again. I always feel bad when it's a a day of handmade game dev where there's very little game dev going on. But we'll hopefully have a little bit better direction to go for next time. But thank you very much for watching. Thank you for joining me, and I'll catch you on one of the other.